Hello, everybody. Welcome to Link Us. I'm coming today for a new video on Sanditon season 3, which was aired on 19th of March, so 3 days ago. I was waiting to talk about it, and of course, you can comment in the section down below about what you thought about it. I think everybody was waiting for the first episode. To be honest, I was a bit disappointed about the first episode because I think it was very slow. So for those who haven't seen season 2, the end was actually Charlotte and her new lover, also Mr. Colborne. They had a kiss. She declared herself, but he didn't appear to be very receptive. Then he tried to chase her, but it didn't work because she was already hurt by his comment. So, and at the end of season 2, we see Charlotte. Basically, she's going to get married to a farmer. So some people will say that she's subtle, and I think it's very interesting because it's very down to what is happening right now in our society. We have so many women who said that they don't want to settle. They consider that most of the men around them are not at their level. So I'm talking about pretty young, educated women who are afraid to settle. So that's why I think that the subject of settling for a man would be very interesting to talk about. So of course I will make another video with this, and I think that with Linkus, we're going to talk about that, about the dating scenes, about what is happening right now, especially with the young generation that I'm part of. So I hope it's a subject that will be interesting for you. But for the moment, we're going back to Sanditon season 3, episode 1. So, as I said, I was a bit disappointed from the first episode because I thought that it would be more thrilling. I was expected more scenes with Edward or even with Mr. Colburn. But I think that even their meeting at the ball, I think the two actors played very well. We could really feel the tension between the two. But again, the behavior of Mr. Colborne is really the behavior I think with most of the men. I think that many of us can relate to a story where basically we liked somebody very much. It was the person liked us also very much, but it didn't work out. But finally, we just forget about it and we try to move on. And I think it's what Charlotte was trying to do, because I think that she was really trying to move on with this new engagement thing with the farmer of her village. But I think that we can see on her face, especially when she's in front of Mr. Colvin, that she's still in love with him. Um, but we all had this experience where we move on and then the person is coming back, the guy is coming back, because they always have, like, I think, uh, around 3 or 4 months with understanding what happened. Our brain works differently, no matter what people say. Um, we are different in some point. So, and he at the ball, he expects to have another chance, even if they haven't seen each other for months. I think. So that was very interesting. But again, the way the scene was filmed was a bit slow. I was not expecting this, but she finally told him that, that she's going to get married. So of course that the subject with settling with Charlotte, we're going to talk about it another time. So we have new characters. We have a family, the Montreux, which is a French name. So it's a mother and her 2 kids, and one of the kids is a duke, so which is one of the highest rank in the aristocracy. So basically, it's somebody that is going to be well treated, but we understand that they're poor. They just have their title, and his mother is pushing him to marry Georgiana, who is turning 21, and at this point, she has the legitimacy, and she can have the money from her parents for the inheritance. So I think that's interesting, and we understand that at the end that this money is going to be challenging. But again, Georgiana always like behave herself like an heiress, so I don't think that things will going to change for her. I think it's how the law of attraction is work a bit like when you pretend to be something, even if she didn't know that she was not an heiress. It's what like the plot is suggesting at the end. She still act like one. So I think that it would be very, very, and I'm just like maybe I'm not telling the truth. I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe she will not lose everything because she behaved herself like an heiress. So we have this new family. We can see Tom Parker and his brother always supporting Georgiana. So that's one of my favorite characters. So I really like them. We see also Lady Dunham that she's still here, and Edward. We thought that Edward left with the army last season, but actually he's still in Sanditon. But his half sister that I like very much left with the baby of Clara that we saw like in the last season. So that's, and we can see that Edward has still this mischievous ways of seeing people. And there's this first encounter with basically the niece of Mr. Colburn. So I think, and I thought about this on season two, but I think she was very young, at like a couple months later, and she's basically entering the societies, which is a perfect time for her to do this. So we can see that, yes, there's something happening that is going to happen between Edward and the niece of Mr. Colburn, and I think that both have this mischievous um, character because she was very hard with Charlotte last season, and we could see some trait of her personality, and I think it really looks like Edward. So I think that would be interesting, and I really like how the romance will be played out between the two characters because I think that it was quite interesting. I'm really for it. We have also the meeting with Georgiana and Charlotte about what is happening. So I was expecting more for this first episode. I think we have to wait for the second. So I think that they're releasing one after one. So next will be this week, I think. Yeah, this Sunday. So each Sunday. So yeah, I was expecting more plots. I was expecting a bit more drama, even if it's the first. And there is also Lady Susan. He's coming back. She was absent for season two. She was there for season one, and she actually helped Charlotte into, expressing her feelings to the other brother Parker, who unfortunately passed away. So she was there, and I really like her character because she was acting like a mother to Charlotte because her mother is not from this society, so she was acting like this, like a mentor, and I really like her maturity and the way she pushed things. So I'm really glad to see her for this season three. I hope that she will be a great, 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 mentor to Charlotte, enable her to make the right decision regarding Mr. Colburn and her new engagement. Of course, we can see the dynamic between Charlotte and her soon-to-be husband, who is a farmer, who definitely feel that it's not his place to be. I think Charlotte has like adapted well in this situation, but I think that is not the case of her soon-to-be husband. But at the same time, we can see how, with a bit of little pity, she's looking at him. So that's very, very a bit difficult to watch, but I think the actor played very well, especially the main character. Playing Charlotte Awood, I really like the way she's acting. So yes, what can we say for the second episode? We can say that We are hoping the romance between the niece of Mr. Colburn and Edward is going to fall out. We want to see how it's going because, as I said, they have similarities in their characters. We're going to see also, of course, a bit more about Charlotte. I'm afraid that Mr. Colburn, there's something about his personality that is very difficult to grasp. Is the fact that he tends to retire himself very quickly. Um, so I think the fact of not seeing Charlotte for a long time, and she declared herself first, and just coming back saying that we have hope to talk, I think was a bit out of the place. I was not expecting this. I was like, okay, dude, like you haven't seen each other in a month. There's different way to approach, but whatever. And I'm afraid he's going to retire himself a bit, like to retreat himself, and to say that, oh, so she's going to get married and not to chase her, to persevere. It's really a kind of trait of his personality that is very difficult to grab, but I guess it's his personality. Um, we're going to see how Georgiana, but as I said, she always behave herself like an heiress. And yes, I forgot to mention that basically at the end of the episode, they're telling us that it's the former artist at the season 2 who's going to have all the inheritance, which for me is a bit like out of place. I don't understand why it's him, but I think that we're going to have the response. Basically, I see Georgiana with one of the brother Parker, who is always there to support her. I think would be a great choice, but again, it's not my place to say. But I think they would be a great couple. He's always there for her, and she trusts him. You know, at the end, if she doesn't have any money and she is losing uh, her inheritance, maybe because the family Parker has money right now with Sanditon and all the tourists who's coming there. Maybe it will be a good alternative for her. We'll see. I was also liking the character of Charlie's sister, but basically she got married and engaged in season 2, so we're not going to see her again. But I really like the way she, I will say, her joyful personality and the naivety a bit that she had. I really like it. So yes, we're hoping this. I hope it's going to be a bit more exciting for season 2. I hope that Mr. Colvin is going to chase Charlotte a bit more than if he knows that it's kind of his fault that she's going to get engaged that soon. Um, yeah, I think it's quite suspect at this point, and yeah, we hope that everything is going to fall out a bit more quickly. And so I hope you like this small audio about season 1 of Sanditon. I'm going to make an audio at each episode. So I think in total we have 8 episodes for this season 3 is going to be the finally season for Sanditon, which is very difficult for me because I started from the first episode and I loved it. Especially with Sidney Parker, Theo James, who is an amazing actor, and I think a lot of us like watch it for him. But I think that the way season 2 Fallout and season 3 is beginning is very great. But we have been together for the first episode, so I made it. I made basically an audio a podcast for this first episode, so it's going to be a bit sad to talk about Sanditon for the last time, but I actually read the books of Jane Austen at the end. I started with Pride and Prejudice, of course, which is one of my favorite. Then I go to Emma. Then I go to um, Prejudices. And Sanditon was the only one that I haven't read. So I was a bit curious, and I'm always the kind of person, either I read the book before or I have to see the adaptation and then I will read the book, which is kind of strange. But it's how it works. And I haven't sent it and I didn't. And finally, I found it in one of the most prettiest for me library in London, in old edition, of course. Um, and I really liked it. The fact that I think I saw season 1 and then I read it. was kind of um, last page of all my Jane Austen adventures, for people who listen to me. And I think I said it in previous podcasts, is that I love, love, love Jane Austen. She's one of my favorite author, English lit author, and so I'm really glad to finish with Sanditon. I hope it will be more and more. I know that there is, and maybe I will talk about it in all the podcasts. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there are very there are other adaptation on Netflix. They did another adaptation of Emma. I did another adaptation of Precision. They haven't done another adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, or the other. I lost my words, but Reason and. But actually, me, I'm very fond of precise adaptation. For example, Pride and Prejudice is only the one with Keira Knightley that I'm watching. Same for the other, it's always the BBC version 2008. I know that there is another Pride and Prejudice from 1995 with a Grant, but I have difficulties to watch it, so I'm very fond of. I know Sanditon will be the only adaptation that I'm going to watch, and for the new one on Netflix, like Prejudices, and I think with Emma, I haven't watched it really, and I don't think I will watch it because I think it's too modern for me. And it's what I like with Sanditon this season, because they kind of put a bit of modernism. I think I talked about it about season 2, and the fact that she's going to be a governess. She wants her independence. I think it's really like what we are as a woman in 21st century into 2023. But again, it was not too much on Netflix. I think sometimes they're kind of pushing the modernism too far, and I really not like it. And I think it really damaged the adaptation of the film. It's just my personal opinion on this point. So I will see you for the next episode this Sunday, 26th March. Same, it's 9 on PBS. For the second episode of Sanditon. Bye. Thank you very much for listening to me. And you can comment down below, and I will write a nice description about this first episode of Sanditon. Bye.